YSOO.
Hello, this is Wires OO, and tonight we are here with Fish Narc. Yo.
Hey, what's up?
We are here tonight at the 30 Days of Night tour.
Exactly.
And you have had a relationship with Little Tracy now for many a years. So how does it feel to just be out here performing together?
It's really cool, man. Tracy and I have been friends for 9 years, and our first tour together, and which was the last time we toured together, was 2015. Which is 8 years ago. And I gotta say, we come a long way. Mm-hmm. We come a long way. So it's my pleasure, man. He's really my brother, and I love him.
Yeah, I saw you like on stage really popping out for all those songs.
I mean, he's my boy, man, and I gotta be there for him. Like, I would be there for him if there was nobody in the crowd.
Awesome. So let's talk about your recent music now. So your recent album, Fruiting Body, it has a lot of indie and like pop punk elements to it, I think, while I was listening to it. So I was wondering, do you aim to incorporate these genres into your recent music?
For sure. You know, part of how I got into making beats was because I was a punk and an indie person, you know, and I was in bands. So in the Thrax House here, like, which kind of incubated GBC, they were collecting like Key and MacNed. Key was in Raider Clan, you know, and the underground was really like not very big back then. So after that, they really wanted rockers in the crew. So I was a rocker first and foremost, and I learned how to make beats literally because Tracy rapped on one of my random piano loops, and he was like, "Oh, you should make beats. Don't just make techno. Don't just book shows for us. Yeah. You should make beats." So Tracy is really the reason I started making beats anyway. Mm-hmm.
And you have a song on there titled I Feel So Old.
Yeah.
And I feel like the song talks about like aging and hanging on to the past. And you know, we're currently in like a time and scene where I feel like holding on to some sort of youth and like remembering times of the past is like a really big thing. And like this nostalgic feeling right now, because like people from when we were teens in the scene are now we're older.
Facts.
So I was wondering, like, were those the feelings you wanted to express?
Definitely. And I also think like that's kind of just one of the tropes of growing up is like you start to get nostalgic. It's been a thing, like it's never not been a thing, nostalgia for the last 10 years. As people age out of their teen years and their youth, like into their early adulthood, you know, they become aware of things that they weren't aware of because, you know, when you're a kid, you just kind of live and you don't think about it as being something different than just your very mindful personal experience. So yeah. I was trying to talk about that, and I was also just trying to make kind of a critical commentary saying like, I feel so old and I'm 31, but like that's not really old. It's like the internet has made it so that young people can do more stuff and make meaningful art for adults too, and that's shifted the dynamic. But it's kind of a critique too. I'm saying like I feel so old, but really like we're not old still, for real. Yeah. Like, and people come up and talk to me at these shows. They're like, "Oh, you know, I've been listening to you since I was 12. You know, I'm 21 now. I'm so old." And I'm like,
yeah.
You're not old, Cuddy. You're about to be old though.
You got a big storm coming.
Yeah.
You also have a song on there titled Snooki. I'm interested. Is that like Jersey Shore reference?
Jersey Shore Snooki, you know, I got a temper short like Snooki. Playing dumb, you're just a rookie. Snooki's cool. I love the style of the Jersey Shore people, and like, I think Snooki's a badass, and like, she also a very short woman, you know, and that's the metaphor. Like, I hope that isn't rude. I think
she takes pride in it.
I think Snooki's cool, and like, I was just trying to make like a 2000s reference.
Yeah,
you know?
And like short people rights, you know.
I mean, Snooki's awesome. She's the most memorable person from that show.
And also in your music videos, you play around a lot with like interesting, I'd say odd visuals. So like in the New Gaze music video, you painted eyes on your eyelids. Right. And I was wondering, like, what is your artistic process for music videos? Is it just whatever you're feeling in the moment?
It definitely is like, it's about what resources are available, you know. And that video is something I was like, well, I have no resources, I have no director, I don't really have a budget. I'm just gonna make something that I can do with my phone, with my friends.
Yeah.
You know the term the gaze, you know, like how, like the power of how you look and like how it relates to your identity, and like the song is supposed to is a tongue-in-cheek way of, you know, expressing like, oh yeah, like I used to think that was concrete, and I used to think that was the truth. And now, like as I grow, as I experience new things, like the idea of the truth changes. And like I took to the new gaze, like, and I'll take to another new gaze, you know, and putting the blinders on, like drawing eyes on my eyelids. Like I felt like that was a pretty basic, but you know, good way to express that. Like, oh, we really are moving through life, you know, making our best assumptions, like trying to move with the information we have.
Yeah, for sure. So you are a founding member of Goth Boy Clique, and the collective's music has really paved the way for like emo rap as a genre.
Yeah, we came up with that shit.
Right?
We came up with that shit.
There we go. So I had to ask, like, do you consider yourself emo, and are you proud of it?
Hell yeah, I've been emo for so long, way before emo rap was a thing. Like my taste has always, I grew up as a punk, but like I also liked emo from the 80s into the 90s and the 2000s. I love that stuff, and like it's always been a huge part of who I was. When I was in bands, before I was a beat maker, I was in emo bands. Not like My Chemical Romance emo, which I do love, but like post-hardcore emo, you know, the old school stuff.
All right, thank you so much, Fish Narc.
Thank you, for real. Warsaw, thank you guys hella.